I don't understand why the City of Houston is not enforcing it. What makes the City of Houston think they are above the Texas state law? Our great mayor said that it is our officers' duty to enforce the state law. Cite and Release is the Texas state law. It needs to be enforced, and where it has been enforced in Austin, Texas over the past almost a decade, it's proven that it's created 25% more space in the jails for real criminals. At the same time, the city is still making money off of the people that they're citing and releasing. So it's a beneficial law that everybody agreed on almost a decade ago, and we need to enforce it here in the City of Houston before our citizens become aware of it and begin to sue the city for not abiding by the Texas state law, costing the city more money. I think that's my minute.
Councilmember Green, can you kind of just explain what the law is? I'm not familiar with the law.
Okay, well, in 2007, a law was passed called Cite and Release. What this is, it says that people that are stopped with less than 4 ounces of marijuana, okay, and if they do not have a warrant for their arrest and if they're not committing a crime presently, they are to be cited a ticket, given 3 Thursdays to set up a court date, arrange for bail. They're not supposed to lose their vehicle. They're not supposed to lose their job. Okay, this program was set up for a reason, and I don't understand why the City of Houston thinks they are above the Cite and Release law.
Okay.
The City of Houston is not enforcing the Cite and Release law.
Who's our public safety officials here?
Let me recognize Advisor Pro Tem Bradford, and then
Thank you, sir. How do you pronounce your last name again, please?
Gbalazeh, like Gbalazeh with the B.
Okay. Do you think that the officers are more likely or less likely to get information as to where those drugs are coming from if they cite one and release them or detain them and book them?
Well, you said if they're going to find, can you rephrase the question? I don't understand what you're saying.
Do you think the officers are more likely to determine where the drugs are coming from if they book someone versus they cite and release the person?
No. A person's not going to tell. If they're going to tell, they're going to tell. And if they're not going to tell, they're just not going to tell, because they're still going to get the same fine and the same punishment whether they tell or not. And if it's under 4 ounces, it's not that, not that, in the grand scheme of things, with the amounts that are out there, under 4 ounces is not that serious.
Without getting into a...
But it's the state law, sir.
Without... State law is permissible under state law. It's not a requirement, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Without getting into a long dissertation about this issue, I can say that whether one agrees or disagrees, many crimes are solved via information that is given up by people who are in small possession of drugs.
So you're saying that
who robbed certain stores, who killed certain people, where certain drugs come from.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an investigative component that some law enforcement agencies and some DAs still opt to use. Whether we should do it here now, that's up to the district attorney and the police chief to make that decision, not this body.
Okay, so the people in the community have no say-so over the state law being enforced in the City of Houston?
Sure, you go to, I will recite this to you once again.
Yes, sir.
The state law doesn't require what you're saying. You're misrepresenting it.
So what does the state law require? What do you know about cite and release then? Please tell me.
It is permissible that officers do that. I know about it as 24 years as a Houston police officer, 7 years as police chief in this city, and 20 years as an attorney. That's what I know about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that completes the public safety.
With that much time, you should know more, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. We stand in recess.
Yvette, Miss Yvette, one of these days. Okay. To be followed by Mr. Darrell Patterson.
Well, today I'm here to thank Mr. Bradford for supporting the Cite and Release Law, that's the Texas state law, and for supporting it being enforced here in Houston, Texas. See, last week what Mr. Bradford said was, it's more likely when a person is detained that an officer can illegally and unlawfully pressure that person to say something they would not ordinarily say without due process. So, if you don't support the Cite and Release Law, the only justification you had was because it's not going to allow police officers to break the law. So I want to thank you, because I'm just assuming, being an officer that has as much experience as you do, that you would not, want for officers to act unlawfully or have more access to act unlawfully. So thank you, sir.